On today's show, we're going to examine the power of our intuition to tap in to the root cause of illness. So many people go to doctors and experts looking for answers, but so many leave without the answers they need. But today, we're going to tap into the very essence of our being to bring to light the truth that will set us free. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How can I help?
Well, I'm here actually because I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and I'm looking to heal naturally, and I've tried a lot of different things, and I want to come off of the medicine that I've been provided, which I know doesn't make me feel good or doesn't solve my problem, and that's why I'm here.
What's life been like with Crohn's disease?
It's been hard in the sense that everybody who I talk to, and doctors and family and everybody around me, say that you can't do anything but just take medicine. And I almost feel like I'm not in control of my life. They say there's no cure. But I know the truth. I know that there's a way, and that's why I'm here, because I know that this is the truth. I know that I just need to go through this process, and I want to figure out what I need to do.
What are the symptoms that you've experienced?
Well, it started with colitis 5 years ago, and then turned into Crohn's, which is basically it's all inflammatory. But the symptom, what started it, what scared everybody and myself, was when I had colitis for a couple of years. I did the colonoscopy and endoscopy, and the doctors gave me a medicine called Acicol, which is an anti-inflammatory. And I tried it with a lot of resistance, but I was never big on Western medicine. But I just, every resource and everything around me kept saying there's no other way. So I tried it, but I didn't really feel so good. I still felt like my stomach, there was something wrong. So I would go to the restroom a lot. I would lose a lot of weight. I felt, and I still do, but I'm a little bit better now, obviously, with the medicine and some of the things I'm doing. But it's I kind of get that feeling I still got to go to the restroom. It's and I got to run and run to the restroom. And I'll go at times, a lot of times, 5-6 times a day, depending on what's going on,
Oh, well, let's have a look what your body needs to restore that balance and equilibrium. The sense that I get is that growing up, you always felt that whatever decision that I make is going to be misplaced. Yep. That other people are choosing this, and by the time I choose it, everyone else would have moved on. That wherever's popular, I can't ever be in that spot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So let me go a bit deeper, Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
It's this perpetual unhappiness with where you find yourself,
Mm-hmm.
with what you create, and with people's reactions to you and what you've done and who you are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So your Crohn's disease within the body is this restlessness with who I am in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your body is battling with, why can't he just be peaceful? Why can't he love himself? Why can't he enjoy what he's doing? Why does he have to keep taking reference from what everyone else thinks? And it's your body showing me that you would always look up and go, Dad, what do you think of that? Or best friend, what do you think of that? It's always looking outside of yourself for that validation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always want to ask advice from everybody, and that's been a common thing. A couple of my friends would say, you're always asking everything, every decision. It's true.
Yeah. There's always this inner turmoil. It's that inner turmoil of, well, I'm not completely satisfied with it. Maybe if they're satisfied with it, I can be content. And your body has been wrestling with that since in the womb, right? It's been wrestling with this, am I okay with who I am, with what I'm doing, with the decisions that I make? It's more to do with the decisions that I make. And so the organs just can't process experiences. You look at your digestive tract, your whole area of digestion is to take the goodness, move it through, get rid of it, right? But what's going on psychologically for you internally is, no, I think I'm going to hang on to that for a little while because I'm not fully sure that it's okay. And what you're doing internally is mirrored in the physical body. So the body's like, now I can't process that, I can't digest that because I'm discontent with it. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's have a look at what your body needs to move this Crohn's disease and put that in the past.
Okay. Great.
There is this interconnection between you and your father. You have this codependency. I'm not sure if you're consciously aware of it. He's looking at you for validation and you're looking to him for validation. It's almost like you guys could have been brothers. You have this amazing connection of, it's almost like twins that didn't come through the same mother. Can you sense that?
Yeah, at times. We fight a little too, but, you know, obviously we love each other, and I'm very lucky.
As twins do. Yeah. So you and your father have this codependency. It's like he had a son to validate that he can be a man, and you kind of got swept up in that. It's like, well, I'm here to validate him. Well, I'm going to use him to validate me because that's going to be the ultimate validation for him. If you validate him, right, by looking to him for validation, it's the ultimate validation for him. So you kind of went in as a child, well, yeah, I can do this for you. And you haven't stopped doing it. So in order to heal and remove this Crohn's out of your body, there needs to be this disconnect.
See, I even feel like a pressure always here. Like I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. Well, that's where we connect to one another. Yeah. So your body's showing me that it needs you guys to kind of energetically, psychologically, mentally go your own way. Yeah. You need to relate to each other as, he was my father, he put me into this life, but that's it. I don't need to report back to him about my success, my failures, my relationships, my dreams and goals. I don't need to give him that joy because you're kind of hooked in. That's what a son does. That's where a father gets his joy from, by me narrating and informing of my story. No, because what that does is it keeps him dependent on you for the joy in his life. His lesson, his journey now is, I've done the father thing. I've done the role. I've been a great father. Now it's about me. It's about my journey, about my own development. So you guys are keeping each other intertwined, stuck in this process. You're holding him back and he's holding you back. Ultimately, you're holding yourselves back. Does that all make sense?
It does. It actually does, yeah. It's actually, it's much more clear though. Because one thing I was working with before I found you guys here that were doing this is, I realized that with a coach that I was working with, that there was a dependency that I had. And for both parents, obviously, but there is this dependency in the way our culture is and upbringing, being Persian and raised Jewish, and our community, and it's all about like that dependency, like, you know. So there's no doubt, 100% I see what you're saying. I get that.
Yeah, there's a lot of upsides with the communities, yeah, but there's also a lot of downsides with the communities, and it does take a heightened awareness to see what is serving me and what isn't serving me. And ultimately, if it's not serving you, it's not serving him. So you can be okay with cutting this connection because you're doing him a favor and you're doing yourself a favor. Because your body's trying to show you, hey, Eddie, you don't need anyone's validation but your own. That's the lesson it's trying to teach. So the Crohn's is going to stick around within your body until you get the lesson. Illness, disease, and other experiences in our life will remain there until we get the lesson.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So what do I do? Like, what's the right? How do I go about that so that we still are close and he doesn't feel like I'm distant from him or keeping anything from him?
Well, the very first answer that comes through is that you two need to have a frank conversation, and the conversation will, in part, be like, Dad, I give you permission to go and live your life. You have done an amazing job, and I thank you for everything. Let's be mates. I want to free you from the responsibility of being a father. You've done it. Come on. I'm a grown man now.
So actually, say we're like friends?
Yeah.
That's interesting because that's the opposite of what the coach was trying to say, that he's treating you like a friend, but he needs to be the dad. And that was completely opposite, which kind of makes sense now why that didn't really work.
Well, that's
so interesting.
We get our information from different places.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. So actually, that's basically knowing that that's okay, actually, because that's true. That's what he wants. I think he kind of wants to know what's going on like a friend would, like, you know?
Yeah, be a buddy. So because if he's hearing it from the context of a friend, he doesn't need to worry about you. He doesn't need to feel responsible. He's just like, oh, look what Eddie's going through.
I never thought about that. So it's more that he's worried. He's always worried because is the context as a dad. But if I change that relationship, him seeing it as a friend, it will ease things for him more than
he
anything.
Has permission to then go and enjoy
then
his own
he won't
life.
Want to interfere as much, and he can just like relax more. That makes sense. Wow, that makes sense. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
So the truth is nearly always the opposite of what we think it is, because we have this part of ourselves, a personality, it gets inverted, and that's why we end up with struggle in our life. And this is why we need to, the more we raise our awareness, the more we move beyond the subconscious into what we call the superconscious, and that's where the truth exists.
Yeah. Well, I've been working on myself since I was 14. And this is like deep stuff, so it makes sense. And the interesting thing about it, the coach that I had recently, that I worked for many months, I spent, I think, nearly $20,000 worth there. It was like $1,200 a month. And the interesting thing about it is that it's funny because, like, I thought that she was going to serve me and I'm going to cure your Crohn's. She knew, though, the good thing is she led me to this because I wouldn't have believed, because she knew a lot of it was psychosomatic. But she just didn't know how to get there with me. She didn't understand how to. So she even, for example, got this as the exact opposite, right? Isn't that interesting? Imagine if she like really truly like could do what you're doing.
So the process from here, Eddie, is to shift that dynamic with you and your father. But concurrently to that is to integrate, and one of our mentors is going to help you with this, to integrate that I can be content and assured in my own decision making. And that will allow you to just move things through, move one experience through into the past and just keep moving. And the beautiful thing that I'm seeing with that is the experience is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So instead of being stuck on, well, yeah, I got this mediocrity again. Why am I always in this mediocrity? I want exceptional. I want to really make a huge contribution in life. But the only way that can be let in is when you see all your experiences as perfect instead of judging and scrutinizing. So you're going to allow in far more into your life as you get to see within yourself that you're an excellent judge of where you need to be and how you need to pursue things. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. I wanted to ask, because a lot of these doctors, and I went to the toppest doctors, and it's really interesting because I wanted to make sure that my gut was like, that's not the source, but at least let me go to the highest end. So there's actually Beverly Hills, California, that deals with IBS and all these areas and Crohn's and stuff. And the head of it, one of the heads is Dr. And everybody said he is the guru and he's the god of this area. And I talked to all these other doctors and they said like he's the guy who wrote the book on it and like anything he says pretty much. So it took me like a month to get like to see the guy. And the thing is, it was sad because I'm already freaked out because my situation was not good. And he pretty much didn't even give me love. Like, it was sad because like I go in there and he wasn't even treating me and dealing with me. He had the nurses deal with it. And he's the one who gave me that diagnosis. He's like, oh, you have Crohn's colitis. And that diagnosis is just walking away without anything. He's like, just take your medicine. And I asked him, I'm like, I don't get it. What can I do? Diet, I hear diet will help. No, it's not proven in science. And it upset me because I'm like, this is the highest end guy. Cannot be true. Like, diet doesn't matter. Like, I've been figuring out, of course it matters. I said, what about alcohol? I've been told it's not good for me, for anybody. No, it's not proven in science. He said, do you smoke? And I said, no. He's like, just don't smoke. So basically, I said, is there anything else? What about stress? I heard like emotions and lifestyle. Nothing proven in science. Just take your medicine. I felt very out of control. My mom was like sick for like 2 weeks because like now his son has Crohn's because it started with colitis. Then it ended up leading to me not being able to walk for 10 days. That's what scared me. That's what like made me want to like seek the truth for these 3 years and figure out what I got to do. So I'm very blessed to be here. So thank you for being here, you know, to like help me through this, you know.
My pleasure, Eddie.
Yeah.
My pleasure. With me in the studio today, we have Eddie. Welcome, Eddie.
Hey.
So good to have you back.
Same, thank you. It's great to see you. Great to be here.
Thank you. So when we first spoke, Crohn's was really a debilitating illness for you. Can you take us through what life was like back then?
Yeah, it wasn't easy because, again, it's like we discussed before, I didn't feel like I was in a stuck position. I didn't feel like I had much control over my life. And it was almost like you're kind of guided by other people. And I always kind of needed other people's approval. And it was hard to make decisions a lot. I would want other people's, thoughts about things. So, and it wasn't easy because, I'm not one to be a big believer of Western medicine, and feeling like I had to be on this drug, which literally would make me tired. It was an anti-cancer drug. Mercaptopur and 6-MP. And it didn't even make me feel very good, even though it managed some of my symptoms. And I would go to the gastrointestinal doctor and I would say, look, I'm feeling very tired. He's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. But let's get a breath test and let's do this and let's do more tests. And no, there's nothing. It's like, it's okay. You just have Crohn's, just stay on your medicine. But even on the medicine, you would think, okay, well, at least it's managed, but I didn't feel really right. But if you think about it, it's literally shutting down my immune system. I knew it didn't feel very good. He's like, just be careful who you're around so since your immune system is weaker. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So it just didn't really feel good. It didn't feel good at all. And then of course having to go to the restroom a lot and knowing that something's wrong with me and how is my future going to be and all of these things.
Wow. And so that was 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. Eddie, do you still have Crohn's disease?
No, thank God. I think it's been at least a month or so where it's completely been healed and even proven, thank God, with gastrointestinal doctor and blood work and sed rate and not needing the medicine, and having strong stools and feeling better. That's the whole point, and feeling the energy. So that's the blessing. So, I mean, everything is normal.
So there's God. You've had the test done. Is there any trace of Crohn's disease left in your body?
None, thank God.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that amazing? And that was only within 2 months. How is that possible? Eddie, you were on a profound journey of universal intelligence. Do you want to take a moment to share a little bit about your journey?
Sure. I think, it started obviously with the work and in realizing unlike the journey started since I think I mentioned before when I was like 14, since I started on the path of personal growth and Tony Robbins. And, I've been through, even before all this, trying the diet, natural approach through juicing and vegan stuff. And what scared me the most, that really woke me up, was how the colitis turned into Crohn's disease a few years ago, where I couldn't walk for 10 days. And that's what's scary, because my mom's a pharmacist, think about that. So it's always about medicine, and she's a kind of woman of science, and you need to see facts, and then you have doctors in the family and other people. So
the juicing
so
didn't
who's
work.
This crazy guy, like, black sheep of the family, he doesn't get it. And then all the diagnosis that was killed me even before all this was, then I was bipolar, and then I was on that medicine for lithium and this and that. It was always like something is wrong with me, and even family around was like, something's wrong with Eddie, you got to fix him or take care of him, and it really wasn't the truth, because I was never bipolar. I didn't really have all those things. It was getting to the root of what's going on. So yeah, it was never easy. I mean, I still had a very good life, but it was never easy. And this work helped me kind of realize what's the real truth and being in control of my life.
So let's focus on the 3 months since we first met,
Sure.
where you were assigned a universal intelligence mentor. Tell me what some of the greatest breakthroughs during that journey were for you.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest is when we met first, and you told me, and I had no clue that had anything to do with it, was that relationship as a child and growing up is almost, I became their psychologist. I think it probably helped me a lot in retrospect and get more intuitive and understand what's going on. But being that buffer and that filter to protect my dad, and starting to realize, wow, there is a lot of truth to that, because even through that whole process, my mom was the one who was attacking me a lot egoically and all the things as you guys have seen through the process. And so that was huge to kind of put aside and say, oh, wait a second, what's the real truth? What's in my highest and best? And then tuning in and knowing like what makes the most sense for me in my life. And then moving sorry, go ahead.
So you learned how to access UI yourself to get the answers for yourself on your journey.
Yeah, and that's the powerful thing about this work, unlike anything else from all the Tony Robbins, and going to the nth degree, like leadership and learning all the stuff to be like a Tony Robbins coach, essentially, when I used to do coaching. All the Kabbalahs and all these speakers and all the things you see in Landmark, the difference is you're still dependent on other people, and they're very general truths. Where here, it's like I'm tuned in all the time. Even now, I could tune into the energy of foods, and it tells me what I should eat today, what I shouldn't eat right now. It's a powerful feeling to know that you're connected. And if anyone thinks you're crazy, or I'm clearing my foods, and as I've been taught, by you guys and as well as you, it's powerful. But who cares if other people think you're nuts as well, And that's the great feeling about it,
So you living your truth?
I am, and it's always still a work in progress, which is a great thing,
So how different is your life? You've healed Crohn's out of your body.
It's huge, and I think it's huge because I'm making those changes and those shifts because I know what's in my highest and best as I'm tuning in. Like one of the biggest changes is moving to Malibu, right on the beach. And even being guided as I was being guided where to go. It wasn't just go to Malibu, it was live on Malibu Road, which was very clear. I didn't want to live on PCH, and just being guided by that and feeling the power of doing it. It's not just saying, okay, this is what you should be doing at this point, but it's actually doing these things. And and I did it, this was huge because I did it without anyone around me and telling them, because I knew that they're going to think I'm nuts.
So you got...
So I didn't even tell anybody, and I moved in, and until maybe a few weeks into it, I told my parents and other people. And that's a powerful feeling to know, hey, you know what? I don't need any interference. I'm living my life.
So you got from universal intelligence the specific guidance, exactly the street where to move. How's life been since you've moved there?
It's great. It's definitely a huge transformation to be able to sit on your couch. And I also kind of suffered through the work that I did, and you guys helped me. I never really lived like fully even in my place. Like I knew that, no, actually I should have a TV, and I got a PlayStation 4, and I should have all the things that I like. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm looking at the ocean. You see dolphins playing and birds, and I have like a little balcony, and I could go right down. I got a wetsuit now, and like I go kayaking, and it was getting over all those non-truths. Like, well, who's going to come to Malibu? But the truth is, I was given that message. It's a destination. The right people will come. So it's good because it's also kind of made it easier for me not to see some of the people that are toxic from friends and family. So it's made it a lot easier. There's a reason for that as well.
So the answers that we get from UI are always in our highest good. Do you want to share what some of the guidance was that was something that was so far removed from anything you would do off your own bat? What are some of the things that UI suggested you do to help foster your healing?
There's a lot of things. One comes to mind is that I don't owe anything to my parents. That's one thing. I don't owe anything to anyone. Most importantly, and that's the work I've always been aware of, but it really guided me to give me clarity that it's my life right now and that power. And knowing also that I don't need to be perfect in the eyes of my mom or whoever else, because it's almost like my mom wants me to be perfect. And that's part of all this stuff, right? It's her issues. It has nothing to do with me. And also, to being the change is huge, because as I realized that it's not my responsibility to have anyone else change. All the stuff that's going on, my cousin attacking me and my aunt's attacking me, they think like I got my parents and it's just trouble, and my dad, and all this crazy stuff. But it's not the real truth. But it's also how I'm handling everything. Like, I'm very cool about it. I'm chill about it. I'm ignoring also when it's necessary. I'm just being guided. So whatever is being told, do I pick up? If it says the call comes in and I'm sick, I'm not supposed to pick it up. So it's also transformed my business too. That's another thing with the work, because I tune into label choices as well, and with the work that we're doing with the mentoring that I'm going to be growing.
So you're
as well.
harnessing universal intelligence
it's huge for everything
to grow your business
Even Victor, who works for me, he sees the difference, and he came and he did the 3-day and it's phenomenal. Now he's tuning into clients, and he's doing it where I don't have to do the tune-ins anymore. I could let him and trust him. He's literally, after this, the 2 days and that Friday night, he's literally tuning in. And I'm like double tuning in with him. I'm like, how in just 2 days the guy can tune in? And I'm like, this is powerful. So this is huge. He's even handling it all. I'm like, wow, this is great. So everything, it's less fear-based. Everything's easier. He's even seeing it. He's like, things used to be all over the place. Now it's like cooler. It's simpler.
Eddie, when you came to us for help, could you have ever imagined that your healing could be so simple?
Well, I believed it because I saw it. When I saw you for the first time, and when I just saw some of the insight, I was like, this is amazing, because I started seeing some of the past people, Esther Hicks and all that. So I started believing in this. So I knew it was the source, but it's definitely more powerful than I thought, because I'm in control of it all. Because if it was that I have to always talk to a mentor, that's exactly what everything else is. And it's not even guided by higher self. That's the most powerful thing about it. So, that blows me away. I never knew that at beginning of this, can I tune into energies of food and things? And I didn't know it was going to be that amazing. And it was going to be able, I could tune into businesses. And I never knew that power though. Never. Thank God that it's amazing in that sense.
So Eddie, what would you like people out there to know? Does UI have the answers?
It does, absolutely. And what's amazing about it is that it's not general answers. It gives the power to the person as you do the work. Even my mom's tuning in now, my dad's tuning in. You're at a whole different level because there's no dependency anymore. So keep in mind, all this work that I've done, the Tony Robbins and the Kabbalahs of the world and all this stuff, I've seen all these live guys that are in this personal growth. You name it, I've seen them live even. They're just coming from general stuff. This doesn't mean it's truth for the person. And the problem with that is you don't get a lot of one-on-one coaching, and they're not really being guided through anything but just general truths. And I've noticed some of those general truths are limiting beliefs for me that I had to clear, and I still have to continue to clear. I have to actually move some of that stuff away, all that hypnosis and neuralistic programming, and push it away with your guys' assistance, so I could tune in at the highest level, because that actually is interference.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So behind every struggle and behind every illness is that key truth. Now, Eddie, do you remember the time when you asked, why do I have Crohn's? And through universal intelligence, I told you the truth. Do you remember how that made you feel, hearing what that was?
It felt extremely simple. I remember I told you, like, wait, because I did some of the work already before that, but that was interesting. It just seemed a little too simplistic. But yeah, I do remember. It just seemed a little too easy, obviously, because I did know. I tuned in and I was like, okay, there's still more stuff, but I got the premise of it, and I was like, okay, that's something that's definitely makes a lot of sense.
Eddie, thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, same. Thank you. Thanks for believing in me and you guys investing so much. And it's been awesome. And I wanted to also thank Steve too, as part of the show as well. In addition, he did a great job.
Yeah, Steve's an amazing mentor. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, another UI success story. And that's just what keeps happening when we're accessing universal intelligence. Stay tuned for some more UI.